Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Outer Belt. I am Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
Zucchini bread.
And Jerry.
And we're coming to you from the Outer Belt Studios here in wonderful Dublin, Ohio. It's a gorgeous day outside. How long have we been waiting to say it's absolutely beautiful outside?
Forever.
Long time.
Long.
This week was official Shorts in the Yard week.
Yes.
First time in a long time.
How'd it feel? Was it nice?
Felt great.
Yeah? Get that
Felt
air on your
wonderful.
legs?
Yep.
You know, I
Hair on my legs.
had a good friend of ours, mine and Eric's, that was down in Texas, and just good old country folk, and that he was like, I will only wear blue jeans. I will not wear shorts for nothing. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't know if there's a difference between Louisiana and Texas. We're very similar in a lot of ways,
Right.
but no, we'll wear shorts.
Yeah.
Screw that. I mean, like, because rattlesnakes can still bite through the pants.
They
Shorts,
still
right?
wipe the pants, yeah. Yep. They sure can.
I guess is it because the cowboy boots don't look as good with the shorts?
They don't.
They do on
No, they
women,
don't.
but not on men.
You have a point.
Not
Well,
on
unless
men.
you're a girl with Daisy Dukes on,
There you go.
Yeah.
and it matches.
I could see that. They're bejeweled,
Bedazzled. Or
bedazzled.
bejeweled. Either
Bejeweled,
one.
yeah. Eric and I just watched last night. We watched like six
Popular things of the 80s.
yeah, popular things of the 80s that are ridiculous now. And they talked about the bejeweler. Do you remember this thing? It looked like a
Yes.
sewing machine.
Yes.
I watched
you-
the same video.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
All right. What
Oh,
are some
they-
other things?
Oh, they got a little close to home when they were like answering machines, and I'm like, well, hold on now. We all right, let's not like come on. They were like, and it was actually not connected to your phone. It's set next to your phone, and I'm like, oh, that's hysterical. I remember when we went from tape to a digital answering machine. So
Ooh.
we've always had an answering machine as long as I've been alive. That's all I remember is having one. But I do remember the little micro tapes.
Yes.
And I remember having to go because you use it and reuse it and reuse it and reuse it.
Right,
Eventually,
yeah.
you would get the, hello, this is Sears calling about your service on Saturday. So I remember going to the K&B drugstore, which I guess got bought up by Eckerd's, which got up by Rite Aid? Rite Aid was a drugstore that was
Yes.
nationwide, right? Okay, so we'll get there. But I remember going there and like buying, you couldn't buy one.
You want a
Of the
3-pack.
tapes, the three.
Yeah, you had to buy a
packs.
3-pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we would do that, and then I remember before we'd go on vacation having to like re-record it. Like we'll be gone from this date to this date.
And you're telling people when
I
you're not going
know.
to be home.
How great! This is before people had home security systems. I'm like, why did we think at some point that was a good idea?
Because you trusted your friends that were calling you.
True. There was not nearly as much spam call.
No.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do remember getting the digital one and how great that was. We're not buying tapes ever again. We have arrived at the pinnacle of technology. We have a pager and a digital answering machine.
Yeah.
Do they use the same mini cassettes as like for interviews, the recorders?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We never had one. I always
You weren't doing interviews on
No.
Dateline?
no. We never.
The only way I know is I worked at Radio Shack.
Okay.
So we sold the same tapes to the microcassette recorders as well as answering machines.
The only one of those I ever really wanted was the one from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. You remember the big silver one that you spoke into the microphone that was off it
Yeah.
that Kevin McAllister had?
That was great.
Was he related to you?
I think I was related to him.
I could see that. I could see that. Should look and see if there's a trust fund you need him.
I need to.
I'm just saying.
You know he's getting those royalty checks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that I've seen a lot of people compare him and his brother now because they're both, pretty well-known actors at this point. And they're talking about how much his brother works versus how much he works. And it's like, yeah, his brother doesn't have a nest egg of 2 movies that were gigantic blockbusters that just every month send him $1 million just for the
Right.
fun of it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
he's got to go out and make his money.
He was on Jeopardy, Celebrity Jeopardy, not long ago, and he was actually saying how
Which one?
Macaulay?
Macaulay, thank you, and he was saying how they still watch Home Alone in his house, and his kids today don't realize that it's him.
Oh, that's precious.
Like they love the movie and they don't realize it's him, and he's going to see how long he can go before he says anything.
That's neat.
That's hysterical. But he still looks like he did back then.
Yeah,
He you see some of those child actors when they're adults, and you're
Yeah.
like, that's really you. Him, you're like immediately. Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Like,
but maybe
immediately.
they're so little that they're not putting two and two together
I can
quite
see
yet.
His kids
So-
are like 22 and 23, I think.
No, I don't think they're
I'm
that
just
old.
kidding. I don't know how old they are.
I don't know how old they are.
I did see an interview. It's a few years old, but it comes up on my reels every so often. Of Julie Andrews is talking with I think Jimmy Fallon about her grandkids, and during that interview, one of the grandkids just realized she's Mary Poppins, like
Oh.
just put it together. And so she was talking about that when she went to go see him. The boy like walked over, winked at her, and said, "I know who you are." Like,
That's
I just think
funny.
it's
Still
great.
thinking it's kind of magical,
That's
though.
funny.
Yeah, not. I don't think equating this is a movie,
Right.
Or, like, yeah,
Right. It's her secret superpower.
correct. It's not
Yeah.
suspended belief. It's just belief.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Not funny, but precious too, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah. Mary Poppins is one of the movies I really do love. Like
I
from my
love Mary
childhood,
Poppins.
I always thought like being able to jump into that painting, being able to fly up and have tea
Mm-hmm.
hanging up in the
On the
air
ceiling.
and laughing. Like in some of my younger memories around the dinner table with mom and dad were laughing. Like my mom was a very funny person, and my dad would get on these roles too. So we would like have some very funny moments, and I always thought it'd be cool like if we just started floating up in the air, and, you know, because when you are a little kid, you do think like this might happen,
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah.
and so. But no, that was one I just always loved. That Mary Poppins, and apparently it was good for your health.
Laughing?
Whatever it was, because think of how many people in Mary Poppins are still alive.
Mm.
2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dick Van Dyke and
Yeah.
her, right? Like
Yeah, over 100.
I looked at the other ones that are in there, and they didn't make it past like the late 60s and 70s. Not to the 60s and 70s. I mean like
Age-wise.
no, I mean like 1960s and
Oh,
70s.
wow.
I mean like
So maybe it wasn't so good for your health.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe Dick Van Dyke and Julie Andrews worked together a magic spell where they got everyone's life.
It was one of those crazy back-end deals in the contract.
It was. Everyone has to die early, but we're going to live to 172.
That's
Oh.
funny.
Disney was like, well, we're going to make $16 billion on it. Let's go for it.
Wow.
Fun times. So you're out in the yard. It's nice and warm.
It was very warm, nice and comfortable. It was a nice little breeze blowing too, so it wasn't too hot.
Yeah.
It was nice. It's very nice.
Have y'all had any of the aromatics from the hills of Columbus?
Not yet, but now that you say that, we will tomorrow.
Okay.
We actually had
Thanks,
it
Patrick.
a couple of days when it was
Sorry about that.
cold. We did get those.
Oof.
But yeah, I'm guessing that tomorrow we'll probably get just a big old nose full.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, the wind's got to be a very specific direction for that
It
to
does.
happen.
That's very true.
Because if it's a southerly wind, it's going to miss you. If it's
Yeah.
an easterly wind or a westerly wind, it's going to miss you.
Yeah.
It's got to be that perfect radial
It
of
does.
wind.
Yeah.
I was telling Heather, it also has to be when you're trying to sweep the leaves from last fall.
Oh
You can't
yeah,
do before or after, just when you're sweeping.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you guys go up there today?
I did not. I didn't
Okay.
take the chance. However, I'll just say the problem has been resolved.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yes,
Sounds good.
we don't need to.
Yeah,
talk
we don't need
about
to
that anymore.
go any more with that. Yep.
You don't have to edit it out. You just don't mention it. So, everybody's cool. I did tell Eric one of those things was like 900 pounds. And when I got back in the van, I was like, my heart was pounding out of my chest. Because I just, you do that thing where like, this is too heavy for me,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do it
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
It's usually when you throw your back out.
Mhm.
So I did that. I get back in the van and I'm sitting there and I'm like, breathe, normal. Like literally having to focus because of how extraneous it was.
At a certain age, you look at that stuff, then you go, that's too heavy. And you know that you're going to hurt yourself if you try and lift it. So you get a younger person to do it for you.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's really smart. I should have
Yeah.
done that. I don't know any younger people.
I know a bunch of them. So
Well, that's
everybody I know is younger than me.
that's what happens when you're.
It does.
Doesn't matter. So, cool, Jerry. How is the air conditioning and summer heat doing over in the other part of Columbus?
It's nice. I like this time of year. Open the windows. No AC on yet. Trying to save that power bill.
Oof.
Oof. Ours has been on.
If we open the back door, the main door you come in to
Yeah.
the garage, and open the windows on the front side, it's just right through the house. It's nice.
Yeah, he's like,
Lovely.
if you do that, you open the doors and the windows, upstairs, downstairs, and then you go to the basement and you get inside the wine cellar. It's lovely.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
I am shocked at how nice your wine cellar is for your house. It is. It's legit.
It is. It is legit.
I gotta come check it out because your studio's there now, right?
Yep.
I gotta come see it. Last time you were up on the very top part with the wall that faces the sun all day.
And that's where Don is now.
Oh. That's cruel and unusual.
That's where it needs to be.
I'm gonna get down a window unit. So, yeah, you can't like at my house. You can't keep the top floor cool. It's impossible.
It's weird. Sometimes it'll like the middle floor, the main floor, will get hotter, and the top will be cooler sometimes.
Really?
Not when the sun is shining in the evening,
Yeah.
but like in the evenings, like whenever I'm getting ready to go to bed, like it could be 9 my bedtime 9 o'clock,
That's okay. I hear you.
and it'll be like still a good 78 or whatever on the main floor, and I can start walking up the stairs, and you can tell it's getting cooler. We're not turning our AC on. The AC does not come on until it has to come on.
Well, the AC right now doesn't come on at my place at all.
Oof.
So I ordered one, and they were like, "Okay, it's going to be like 8 weeks to get it in." I'm like, "Oh, that's the kind of news you want to hear
Yeah.
when you're
Exactly.
right at the beginning
Yeah.
of."
Mhm.
I mean, I guess it's fine because it's already been what, like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I guess, since we
Yeah,
ordered
about
it.
that.
So, and it's been cold, and the heat still works on it. The emergency, the expensive heat still
Right.
works on it,
Yes.
but at least it's heat.
Right.
Um,
Not that I
it's-
think you need it going forward.
no, I don't think so either. But now I want AC, and I don't have it.
Yeah.
So
And we have our line of credit open. Pay for it.
yes, thank you, Wells Fargo. Today's sponsor, Wells Fargo Consumer Credit. Say it with me: 0% at 24 months.
Nice.
What's up?
There you go.
There you go. What are y'all chatting about today?
We are talking about technology and the evolution within the general construct of the maintenance and truck remediation departments.
I think we should start with the
In the
evolution-
beginning.
In the beginning, to
There was
shoeing
darkness.
horses,
What?
shoeing the horses that were
I thought
pulling
he
your
said
trailer.
shooting.
like, this ain't
No,
this
no,
ain't
this is-
Norway.
What
We
kind
don't
of
eat
show
horse
are we
meat
doing here?
No horses were injured in the making of this podcast.
yet.
Shoeing.
We are doing that thing at the Dublin stables, so
right?
that
Yeah,
might.
but that might happen. But that's the next podcast, not
That's-
this one.
Yeah.
Are you talking about in the evolution of Hyfield or in trucking in general?
I meant
In
trucking
general,
in general, with
yeah.
the shoeing the horses,
Oh, I see.
putting the new steel hoop on the wheels of the wagon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So originally, the trucks were powered by animals, you say?
Yes, they were drawn by oxen,
Okay.
sometimes horses, but oxen were able to pull more weight.
Yeah.
So if you were hauling heavy, you were using oxen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they have to be similar sized oxen, or could they be, say, of different yokes?
Well, they would wear their own yoke,
Okay.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying they wear their own yoke. That the yoke was a thing that went around their neck that they used to pull on. The yoke was attached to the trailer, well, with straps and chains, and that's what they would use to pull. So they would wear their own yoke. You would want them similarly sized, yes.
Okay.
You don't want to use juvenile oxen to pull your trailer because they're not going to pull much weight.
I see that.
If you're hauling heavy, you want the biggest you can get, biggest, strongest you can get.
Now, what was first, the oxen or the reindeer?
The reindeer were first.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they're mythical. So if you can write your own story, they're your own lore.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious because if you look at Santa's sleigh, no wheels.
Right. No way. No wheels.
So it had to be first, right?
Yep.
That's my understanding.
Yep. Before wheels were invented.
Way before.
Yeah.
That's why it was actually, that is why Christmas is in winter, because it's the only time they could use the sleigh.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
during summertime, it would just get stuck in the dirt and the sand.
Yep.
And trust me, potholes, you don't want to
No,
go
you
over a
don't want
pothole.
potholes
None of that
with-
thing.
That's why he lands on the
Yeah.
roofs.
That's
as well,
right, yeah, because
so
they're
it doesn't get
generally,
stuck
yes,
in the ground.
100%.
There you go.
Jerry, see, we are solving historical
Conundrums.
conundrums,
Yeah. Conundrums.
yes, with accuracy.
Was that conundrums? or
precision.
was it-
I don't. It's not part of my usual vernacular, so yeah.
Nice. It's good to try new things.
It is good. Yes, I agree. I agree. So, way back when, in 2012, Eric and Patrick started this crazy idea of what if we started driving a truck? And so we went from there and we drove for 6 months for someone. And then 6 months later, after the end of that 6 months, we bought a truck from these same people. And they gave us an Excel spreadsheet with everything that had been done to the truck, which should have been our first indication that we were buying a lemon.
Mm.
Like, don't get me wrong. Trucks need a lot of maintenance.
Sure.
I mean, if you're back then, you were doing oil changes every 25, 30,000 miles, somewhere in that range. Now they're 50 and 60,000, but back then they were 25, 30. So if you're doing that and you've got 500,000 miles on it, you've already had, 20 oil changes?
Yeah.
So that takes up a big chunk of it. You've had
Sure.
lots of tires. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff. But this would not have fit in an executive portfolio.
QuickBooks?
No, they sold it next to
Excel?
Sharper Image.
Brookstone?
Brookstone.
Wow.
Do you not remember the executive portfolio and the
No.
day planner from Brookstone?
No, I don't.
No, it wasn't Brookstone. Brookstone
Like
was the competitor of
Trapper
Sharper
It
Image?
was
Image.
part of Sharp Image. Yeah.
No, it's the other one. Who's the other company?
All I'm thinking of is
Oh, they
Trapper
were in the
Keeper
no, they
now.
were in the
I'm
mall.
like,
They had the black planners back when, like the leather ones, back when you were
Oh, fancy.
I actually have one of those from my dad. I found
Franklin
it this
Press?
weekend.
no Franklin something
Franklin Covey.
Franklin Covey.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Never would have got
You were
that.
going way back in your files.
Way
Way back.
Mhm.
And they were expensive. They were
Oh
like
yeah, they were not cheap.
super high end.
Yeah.
And I only know about them because we would never have anything that nice because Dad's company had a corporate account with them. And so every year, as part of his job, was to
Right.
go and pick up his new Franklin Covey
Yep.
planner. That's way back in the day. And then every year when he did that, I would get the old one. So none of my calendars would work, but like the
No,
notes and
but
everything. Was
yeah.
fun. But that's I'm just saying that's how much detail we got in this thing. It was ridiculous. It should have been like, whoa! If you've had 300 pages of work done on a truck,
Yeah.
it's too much.
It's a lot.
And then we bought it. It was a limit. But Eric and I had to figure out all this stuff. So we had to figure out how do we do maintenance? How do we keep up with all these dates, right? Like, so we figured real quick on oil changes. We would just notate the next one, and we just stay 30,000 and just keep a running count. And then we weren't running any kind of reefer units back then. It was all dry van stuff. And the APU was every 1,000 hours, which made things nice. So we just got to the next 1,000-hour interval on the tri-pack. And then we started our count from there. And so every 1,000 hours, we just got it serviced. And so it made it very simple. And Eric and I were driving the truck. So when we did our pre-trip, if we saw something wrong, we'd get it fixed.
Sure.
Then when we bought a truck, that one had a Mercedes-Benz MBE 4000 engine. That was a cool truck. 450 horsepower at the time, strongest engine we'd ever bought.
Wow.
And
Was the Kenworth?
the Kenworth was the first one. That was the Caterpillar.
Oh.
Remember the Caterpillar, don't you? I still wake up in the middle of the night sometimes. Go, Hardhead! Just
Eventually
evil.
we came out with an R-head replacement schedule.
yeah. Well, yeah, that was
late in the
we did.
history.
We actually did come up with we knew every 8 months or something like that, like clockwork. We just replace it, and typically,
It's like an oil change.
yeah, typically it was bad enough that we get we'd buy one, the next one would be warranted, and the next one we had to buy again. So that's how we were working the system. Oh, what a nightmare! And then we had the ultimate solution for that, which we can't talk about. So yeah,
It's been long enough.
it's been long enough. I don't care. I don't know what the statute of. Then again, it doesn't matter. So we bought this Mercedes-Benz engine, and that was a 30,000-mile oil change. I think it was 35,000-mile oil change interval, but we decided consistency, 30,000. We're going to do the same thing as the Caterpillar as this one. Eric and I drove that truck. We had put a team in the old Kenworth, and then a few months in, we actually swapped places. We let them take the Cascadia. We took the Kenworth. And then 6 months later, so we bought another truck. And so quickly we started realizing we need a way to keep up with this because it's starting to be a lot. So the original idea was drivers would be responsible for keeping up with the mileage. We wrote it into the lease. still do, to where you have to get your engine serviced at whatever the appropriate interval is, and you have to get your APU or generator serviced at whatever that appropriate interval is. And then on the reefer side, we didn't make anybody keep track of it because FedEx did that. So FedEx would actually send out a thing saying, hey, in, like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, you need to have your reefer serviced, or you need to have your T-valve pad test done, or your nest test or whatever. So we actually relied a lot on that to give us those clues of when we needed to get those things serviced. So we didn't have to track it. Made it very nice. And there were no service policies back in those days. So every single service was a full oil change service. There was no only check, do a dry PM or a wet PM or anything. It didn't exist. So that made it really simple for us as well. And then we would just basically track receipts for if we had a repair done, just throw it in a receipt folder. And then whenever we, if we had a similar repair, then we would go back, check the receipts, and see if there's something to be warranted or whatever. So that's kind of how we tracked it originally. It was
manual.
Very manual. Very a lot of just remembering things and relying on the teams to take care of stuff. As we grew and built the fleet up, we started getting trucks that had 50,000-mile oil changes, and that was great because a 50,000-mile oil change is super easy to, 50, 100, 150, 200, right? So it's super easy to keep track of that. And then the generators, our APUs, were either 500 hours or 1,000, depending on what model you had. So that, again, was super easy to keep track with. And then as we grew more, we ended up bringing on my dad. When did we bring him on? 2016, maybe? Somewhere around there. I think 2015, 16, 17. Some research. Okay, you were driving for us the longest. Do you remember when Dad came on, or was he already on when you came on?
No, I was still calling you when I first started.
Okay.
And then he came on, so...
He came on when we were still on the road.
Oh, was he on back then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when he came on and started working with us, he was like, you got to give me a better computer. And we went and got a very high-end Sony computer. And we spent $1,000 on it. Oh, yeah, super nice. And then we went through it, and he actually built out an Excel spreadsheet. And what he would do is, first category was all the truck numbers. And then up across the top, he would do PM service, next due, and all this stuff online. And he would track everything that way. And that's how he kept up with everything. Still very manual, and not great for super deep record keeping. Again, we kept the receipts, so we had the records, but just not a running list of what was happening per truck. But it was a way to keep up with the fleet and keep it going. And we were still pretty small at that point. We weren't a huge fleet yet. And about 2018, 2019, we started flipping trucks fairly regularly. We were bringing a lot of brand new trucks on, and we were flipping trucks and moving teams in. And at that time, a lot of times we'd buy a brand new truck, and then a team within our fleet would then get that truck, and then depending on that person's truck, another team in our fleet might get that truck, and then the next truck would be flipped for a new person, right? So you would flip it. If you brought one truck on, you may do 3 or 4 flips,
right,
to get it out. And we still do some of that these days, not nearly to the degree we used to. Well, part of that too is we're just not bringing on new trucks like we used to.
A lot of it too, though, is teams upgrade from a non-bathroom truck to a bathroom truck, and now we've got a non-bathroom truck that we put another team into. Usually a new team, yeah.
When we started doing all that, all of a sudden, it became a jungle of. First, it was Eric and I. We relocated to Columbus, and Eric and I would take care of flipping trucks. We worked out of the Cube Smart, which we recently left. But if any of y'all know us from pretty much before the beginning of the year, Cube Smart. We worked with them for years. And we started with so I didn't know where we were going to go. So we started with a 5-foot by 5-foot storage unit. I didn't even know they made them that small. Tiny little thing in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Wow.
Because we thought that was where we were going to position the company and need to be.
Sure.
And then after doing more investigating, we were we kind of like Columbus better. So we decided to come to Columbus. and we started with a 10 foot by 10 foot here. And then from that 10 foot by 10 foot turned to a 10 foot by 20 foot, which turned into a second 10 foot by 20 foot,
Right.
which turned into a 10 foot by 40 foot, while also keeping the 10 foot by 20 foot, then it turned into what was that last one? Like a 15 by 50 or something?
Something like that, yeah. It was
Huge. Tall ceilings,
Yeah, it was
giant
huge.
bay door,
Yeah,
13 foot. So almost big enough to drive
Yeah.
into,
but not quite.
but not quite. So when it originally was Eric and I doing all that stuff, and it was rough because a lot of times Eric would have businesses to handle on the permitting or the payroll or settlement side, or payroll for the employees, because it's always been his side, and operations always been my side. That's from day one how we split the company up. And so there would be a lot of times I need to go get stuff done and he wasn't available. So I would go do it myself, or I would Uber to shops and things like that. And it just became a lot. So in late 2019, 2019, one of
The
those.
beginning of 2019, I looked it up.
Okay, the beginning of 2019, is that when Dad moved up here?
Yep.
Yeah. So Dad and my sister moved up here, and when they moved up here, I told my sister, "Come work for me, and we'll work together." I didn't know how that was going to work. Me and her get along, okay, fine, but we did not get along at all growing up. So I was like, "We'll see how this goes," and it worked out really nice. So me and her worked in the yard, flipping trucks, and what we did was we had Apple Notes. We both had iPhones. That was a requirement for her to come join our company. She was not happy about it. She was a hardcore Android user, loved it, and I told her, I'm like, we write everything on Apple Notes. We have a shared note, and you have to have that or this won't work. And so she got an iPhone and made that transition. And so we literally have an iPhone, and I've actually got. I got to think of a way to show. Is this just like a screenshot of this? Would be pretty good, you think, Jerry?
Sure.
So it's just going to show you some like how we have this all set up, and so like this one truck. This is from 2019, July 2019. New dry van. And it's at WW Williams. Like, that's just a check mark at WW Williams. Needs moved to storage. Like, so it's done. It needs to be moved. So, like, we manually typed everything in. You can kind of see, and this is on the screen right here, how we did it. And then we would just kind of keep a running list, and we shared it, and that's how we would get through everything. Now, she has a check marks. When Eric and I first started, there were no check marks. I would just put things on and take them off as needed. Then we get the check mark system down. And it was actually Frank came to the yard one time and worked with us. Did some YouTube content back in the day. So he did that as well. But he saw how we were doing this, and he's like, this is crazy. Like, this is so much stuff on this one shared note that it's kind of organized nice, but, like, not really.
Yeah.
And so he went out and actually found Trello.
Okay.
And he brought that to us. And so we switched over to using Trello, which I don't think it's called Trello anymore. It's called...
It is.
It is.
Oh, is
Trello.
it still called Trello? Okay.
Yeah.
Then they got bought out by someone? Is that what happened?
Atlassian.
Atlassian or
That's
something like that?
Atlassian?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never can pronounce it. They're the primary head company.
Okay, because when they got bought out, they said Trello is now Atlas. That one.
Atlassian,
Yeah.
But it's still Trello. They never did just kill it
No.
off.
Correct.
That's funny. So so then we switched over to that, and our Trello boards now are quite distinguished. And actually, that is what you're still using in
It
the
is.
yard, right?
Yeah, it is.
So when Jimmy came on board and took over maintenance from Dad, he moved to Trello. So now we've got. I'm going to miss something, and y'all chime in when I get something wrong or there's more than I'm thinking of. You can build these different work boards on Trello, and inside of it, you can have all these individual little, like, I think of them as postcards.
Their card.
Yeah, and inside of that card, you have tons of notes, but even better than that, you have a checklist,
Yeah.
and every time you knock something off the checklist, it just gets moved to the bottom, but it's still there.
Right. You can go back and look
You can go back and look
yeah.
at it, and when you do something, it has a history of who did it
Mhm.
and when it was done. So if someone checked something off as done but didn't do it, you could see it. Or if
Right.
it was an accident or what
Right,
have you,
yeah.
right? Or if you didn't know it got done, you could just go back and be like, hey, I see you checked this off.
Sure.
I didn't know it got done. Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Yep.
Like, it helps with that.
The one thing I wish it did was when you add something,
Mhm.
it doesn't say who added it.
Mm.
Because sometimes you'll see something on there and go,
Yeah.
it doesn't quite make sense. I wonder who put this on there.
Yeah.
And you want to try and figure it out. In the yard, it's easy enough to ask Melissa and Heather, hey, did you add this? And if they didn't, then it's like, okay, well, so we actually have maintenance when they add something to Trello, they put their initials and date it. So we actually can go back and figure out what's going on.
And I like-
That's the one thing I wish we had.
I like, too, they put their initials. They don't put maintenance. They
No,
actually
they
will
actually put their initials,
like
yeah.
JM for
Ownership of
Jimmy.
it.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Then it gives you an idea of like, hey, I need to go back and ask, why did you add this?
Right.
Because sometimes they'll put things on like, the door squeaks when you open it, and you go open, and you're like, I don't know which
Yeah,
door.
don't get it. Mhm.
And so you open both doors, and you're like, they don't squeak.
Right.
I don't know what the issue is. So you
Right.
call them back, and they're like, yeah, well, when they're in the sleeper side compartment door or on the passenger side, you're like, didn't check
There you
that.
go. Didn't
okay.
check that door.
No,
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's nice to have that stuff in there. And I do the same thing. When I add stuff, typically, I don't do it the way their format the way they do. I probably should. But I don't. But I typically will like write something down and then I'll put a PL at the end of it.
You know what I like? I like when you call me and say, hey, can you add this to Trello?
Yeah, but 9 times out of
Because then I format it the way we know how it works.
But usually when I do that, it's because I'm driving. Because
It
a lot
is.
of
So,
times. So
Next time you want to ask me the Trello, hop in the car and give me a call.
all right.
Go for
I
it.
think I see. I think I'm picking up what you're laying down. Yeah, because a lot of times I will do that. Like the majority of my Trello stuff is I'm driving a truck like out to Bold or out to Ziegler
Right, yeah.
or somewhere or like we had a team that got broke down in
California.
California, and their truck was down forever. So we it was going to be a long time. So we got a rental car for them. They came back to Columbus, picked up I think did we fly them back? I don't remember.
No, they rented.
They rented a car, came back to Ohio. They got their into a new truck and ran it. And then like 6 months later, when their truck was finally
Yeah.
done, I flew out to California, picked it back, and drove back. And on that way back, I'm periodically calling and saying, "Hey, can you add fill in the blank?"
Mhm.
Yep. Because I think I'm fairly detailed when it comes to things on the truck not being right.
Yes.
Like, so sometimes I pick up on things that other people
Yes.
don't. So I like to give that as much feedback because I know too, as much feedback as I give you, when you get that back in the yard, I feel like you're more prepared for what you have coming.
Oh, we certainly are, because you spent how much time in this truck driving it, where we may not spend enough time to pick up on exactly what you've
Yeah.
picked up on. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. I appreciate those notes.
Yeah.
I really do. It's just when I get them, I translate them in my head to something that we're going to recognize in Trello when we go to a shop and say, hey, here's the problem. The other day I went to a shop and there were notes that Don had taken directly from what a driver had emailed to him.
Oh yes.
And I don't expect Don to try and translate that stuff, because he may take something out or change something. It may
Sure.
mean something completely different at that point. So he gets to us. So we take it to a shop and go, okay, here's what the driver is saying. And not being mechanics ourselves,
Yes.
sometimes those things, I don't understand them exactly, but at least I give the shop the information and they can go through and try and
Well,
troubleshoot.
And sometimes the drivers not being mechanics
Sure,
don't
exactly.
give us
They don't
the
give us
right information.
Yeah.
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 I've absolutely had people. I mean, you've seen it 1,000 times. Check engine lights on. Oh, great. Check engine lights on. That's a big deal. A check engine light on means it's about to derate.
Right,
Means you're about to
exactly.
have issues.
Mhm.
You get the truck in the yard. It's a mill light.
It's a mill light, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no big deal. So like that kind of stuff happens, and it's like, oh, thank God, it's not what we thought it was.
Right. But it is nice when you can talk to somebody, because then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, but you're a chugga, but it's, you know,
Yes,
is that from the tire? Is that from the fender? Is that from whatever
absolutely.
area? So you can define it more.
My favorite, and I'm sure y'all's favorite too, is just doesn't drive right.
Yeah. That's a good one.
What's it doing?
Yeah. And it's just not
Just
right.
just not right.
Yeah.
Second question: what state are you in?
Yeah.
Do you happen to be in Indiana right now?
Right. No, Lower Michigan. Well,
How
That's
about
funny.
Arizona?
I haven't.
I like Trello. It's very user friendly.
It's great. And so now we have, if I'm not mistaken, we have operations. Y'all use it for your cards for when you have a truck in it, right?
Right.
Fleet. We have a fleet information side, which is the other side. So it's when a truck has been leased out. It has all the normal details from operations, and then it has just a few little details about the team. Not a lot, but enough for you to quickly make a reference. And then we have another board that is for actual contact information for the contractors. Then we have another board that maintenance uses. What do they use it for?
Literally everything. Like they're literally tracking. They still use that as redundancy for PMs and for the trucks, for the APUs, for the reefers. They're following up on DOT inspections. Like all of that stuff is listed in there.
Yeah. Wow. It's so they've got that running at the same time. Recruiting, y'all use it as well, don't you?
We do.
How do y'all use it?
So we use it in the capacity of like teams we've talked to. We've got different like columns because you can have different rows with your cards. And so we do like a hot column. So that's maybe a team that you talk to and they just need to check a few things off or they're going to a vacation, but when they come back, they'll call you. So you maybe move them there. In processing, like it says, once they've been approved, we move it into another column. It says waiting for truck assignment. So that's basically where we get that from ops, when a truck will be ready, a date. And then once we've scheduled that with the team, then it goes over to approved and a date when they're moving in. So we just kind of move it down the line.
Yeah.
And then for our referral program, we've got different columns for that so that Delina and Carla can kind of track those payouts for those.
Yes.
And then at some point, when all of that's said and done, the card gets archived. So you can still find it, but it just gets archived. We've also got like wait list. So for the different carriers and then the different kinds of trucks. So, the FedEx Panther for the straight trucks and then the tractor Panther.
Yep.
So if we've talked to a team and we're like, we don't have anything yet, but when we have something available, we'll give you a call. So we work the wait list when we do have those.
One thing that's really nice with Trello is you can build templates.
Yes.
Yeah,
So like all
I've done
our new
that.
trucks have a template. So when we get a new truck, or new to us truck at least, we can take that template, copy it, add the truck number, and it has all the things we need to do to a new truck, right? Trello really is a project management / sales tool and also a CRM or contact relationship management app because it allows you to do all those things. It's a pretty slick tool.
And then recruiting's getting all their personal information to start with. So we're
Yes.
collecting that first name, last name, phone number, and email.
That contact relationship.
Yes, and then eventually, as they come on board or whatever, and they move to a different section of Trello. Again, like you said, there's a maintenance one, or there's where we just kind of like have an address book.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. It's a big old copy and paste out of the recruiting's board into a different card in a different section of Trello.
Yeah.
So it's a really I think what do we have? 6 boards. I only have access to 5 or 6 boards.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have 3 that I actually use regularly.
Fleet Support has their own.
Yeah.
One for Panther, one for FedEx, and basically it's documentation every time somebody talks to the driver.
Yes.
So you can see that if recruiting talked about something, you can maybe follow it up with it on the next call. Building relations.
It's a really cool platform,
It really
and
is.
we have taken it from, like, if you go to Trello, you can get, like, if you're thinking like, well, that sounds like something I'd like to use, you can actually get a very basic one that's free and use it, and it has a lot of functionality. That's what we originally started with, and then we have progressed and bought more advanced versions of it over the years. So we do a lot with them, and every couple of years we talk about getting rid of them, and we usually get a massive pushback from the staff of like, absolutely not. And so it's like, all right, well, not yet. I think maintenance has 3 redundancies right now they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 redundancies right now, and they're not ready to let go of it. I know, like, some of the stuff, like the stuff recruiting uses the board for. If we did get rid of Trello, you could scale down to the basic version, but it limits a lot of our visibility. And so then we could possibly move to a company like Salesforce or some of those other guys, but that stuff's super
Yeah,
expensive.
crazy expensive.
So it's and we'd have to vet all these companies and figure out who it is. So
Sure.
it's a lot. So that's
I mean,
it's-
outside of doing shared notes, that's the only other way I could think of
Yeah.
really getting away from.
yeah.
And at that would you'd have to be super organized as your own
Massive
person.
amounts
Oh,
of
yeah.
information that would have to be moved at this point.
It is, and
Yep.
securely. That's the other thing is people don't take that into account.
Yes.
Like we're at a point now where like making sure we have a company that does have a good privacy policy and does protect the information like securely. I mean, you hear
Sure.
about data breaches
Sure.
and stuff all the time, and that's one thing where I think, Jerry, when you came on board, we talked about like let's go through all of these processes and stuff we're using and make sure that we are secure. And we upgraded a few things to get it behind a reputable company with a good firewall and all these security protocols. But that's been a part of it too. It's just making sure we're keeping all that information secure.
That's a long ways from an Excel spreadsheet.
It's a
Yeah, it
long
truly
way.
is.
Yes, our one shared note that I've just invited 3 people to, and we
Yeah.
just work off that one thing.
Right.
And then, so since then, recruiting and operations are still riding the Trello train, but maintenance has moved on. And I can't speak enough about it because it's happened since I've really been involved with the maintenance side of things. So I don't have a whole lot of knowledge. I've dug around. I've learned a few things that I do use on it. I've learned where those pieces are. But if you asked me to draw you a map of what this program could do, I have no clue.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I brought along Jerry.
Oh.
So everybody say hi to Jerry.
Hi,
Jerry.
Jeremy.
Jerry, what is the new maintenance system that we have we've started using primarily? And before you mention that, can you talk to us about, you kind of were tasked with, we need to find a better way to handle maintenance or track all this maintenance. And you talked with a few other companies. I think Samsara was one of them.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit about what you looked at and then how you ended up where you're at, what we're doing now.
So when I first came in, maintenance was using basically Excel on steroids. They were using Smartsheet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right,
I completely forgot about Smartsheet. Wow.
I hated it. Absolutely. I came in and I looked at Smartsheet and just went blank because I just didn't get it. To this day, I still don't get Excel. I'm not
Well,
an Excel person.
And Smartsheet is like you said, it's Excel on steroids. It is completely customizable. Like you could take it and build whatever you want off it.
Yeah.
Right? But that also means that if I built a maintenance program and you built a maintenance program, they don't look anything like each other,
Mm-mm.
even though they're on the exact same platform.
And if you do certain cells a certain way or a certain formula and all that, and this person does it differently, and you don't do it exactly the same, you break it, things fall apart, and it just, I hate it.
You get the money symbol. It's like, that's supposed
Yeah,
to be a number.
exactly.
Why do I have a money? Why do I have a hashtag here? It doesn't make any sense.
That
That's
little
funny.
air or triangle.
So I did start looking around at your request and finding other companies, and there was other ones that we did talk to, like Samsara, and Samsara is, for those larger companies out there, they're super expensive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know that. But we did finally whittle down after talking, and I had many Zoom meetings with different salesmen and that and the other, and we finally narrowed in on Fleetio,
Yes.
which is where maintenance is today.
Yes.
We started off on the basic version, I guess you could say, realized, hey, we need more functionality, and we did step up. That lasted us for probably the first 7 months or so. And then,
At the next tier? Okay.
yeah, and then Jimmy was like, hey, I need this. So we did have to, we're on the top level tier now.
So you got proficient with
Yeah.
what he
Well,
had.
in all fairness, can I say what happened? We had there's one thing that needed tracked, and we were kind of relying on like the older system to track it because it wasn't in this part of Fleetio that we were in, and we missed a date, and when we missed that date, it cost us like something that should have been about $6,500 ended up being like $12,000. So that one whoopsie
is a good reason to
covered
upgrade.
it
cost
covered
of the
all
upgrade.
of the upgrade
Yeah.
for the next like 5 years. So we were like, all right, upgrade.
That
So,
makes sense.
yeah.
And now we have, there's a lot of stuff in Fleetio. There's a lot of things that it tracks and does. And honestly, we're still working towards getting more out of Fleetio, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
there's still more that
Sure.
it tracks that we're not utilizing yet. So I'm still working with maintenance on a weekly basis, trying to get on up to those levels.
I thought it was great. I was talking with Kelly, probably a year and a half ago. And I was driving and we were talking about a truck that was coming back that we were debating selling or not. And so whenever we debate a truck that we're going to sell, it's a process. And even if we completely slate, we're definitely selling it. We're not ever going to put this truck back on the road. There's a 50-50 chance it ends up back on the road.
It's a good chance.
Like when we sell trucks and we say like, no, they're in good shape, like we would run them ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not lying.
Yeah,
Like
we run
Right.
ourselves.
we keep them at that level of like we can either sell it or run it.
Yeah.
So there was one time I was like, I really wish I knew how many miles were on that truck, and I have a way to do it manually to find out how many miles are on the truck. But I have to go through a few processes, and I was driving. I didn't want to pull over the side of the road and look or whatever. And I know what I have access to, she doesn't. And so I was saying, like, I wish I could see how many miles were on that truck, because that would kind of help me kind of wrap my brain around what I want to do. So I was telling her, I'm like, so I didn't want to pull over, and she was like, okay, well, she was like, I can look real quick for you, and I'm like, you can look for me real quick. She's like, yeah, I got Fleetio open right now. It's on Jimmy's computer. So if you don't know, Kelly and Jimmy, they work side by side. So she's able to like walk over, get his computer, and pull his Fleetio up. So she pulled it up, and she's like, it has this many miles on it as of yesterday at like noon or whatever it was. And I'm like, how did you do that? And she said, well, I've got it right here through Fleetio. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't track it that tight
Right.
on Fleetio. We do track it, but it's like month by month we track it. And she's like, no, Jerry changed that a while back. And so y'all have like
Wow.
within most of the fleet within less than 24 hours. We know
real
of real time.
Yeah.
We know how many miles are on it. Some trucks might push out a little bit longer. Like if someone goes at home time, we may not have that information that tight. But yeah, it's crazy how much information that the computer that software has going through it.
Is that from
is
the
that-
receipts?
I was going to say, if it's from
Like
fuel
from
cards
fuel-
or telemetry from the truck.
The biggest thing was fuel cards. So
Okay.
we integrated the fueling system with Fleetio. So
Okay.
every time a contractor will go out and pump fuel, as soon as they hang the pump up, within 10 seconds, that information is linked back to Fleetio.
Wow.
So we have the sale, we have a copy of the actual receipt that we go through, Love's or wherever we
Yeah.
fuel. Love's is our primary. The mileage, all of that is instantly updated in the system.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I knew we were linking up with Fleetio to be able to track cost. So I did know that, and it was a nightmare, wasn't it? Getting Fleetio and
A
Fleetio to, and our field card to talk. It was they just I don't know what the deal was, because they advertised like you can do it, and then it just took forever for them to actually make it happen. But it finally did happen. So I knew from a cost perspective we were tracking it. I had no idea all the other information was coming across with it.
Yeah.
That blew me away.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It does everything, and then we do not track like location on the contractors or anything. But whenever you fuel, since that information comes through on the back end, then it updates like the last time they got fuel, it tells us a general area of where the truck was
Right.
and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of information that will come in and is automatically stored.
And part of that too is Fleetio is very generic to a degree, right? So like my understanding, because I remember when you first brought me this program, we started talking about it. Well, the first pitch, which was from one of the salespeople you were talking to, we were talking through everything, and I'm like, none of this applies to what we do. Like he was talking about all these different things, and he's like, yeah, well, we have this 900 taxi cab company that uses this, and it's like, what? I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like, or we have this other company. It was that stuff, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it
It was tons of things like that. I'm like, This company, well, they run a pizza delivery, like not like frozen food pizza delivery, like they go to like grocery stores and stuff, and they have their fleet of trucks outfitted with it in the Birmingham area, and I'm like, good for them. Like we're all over the country.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Right.
So like, I didn't see the value in it, and we went 3 or 4 times back and forth. I think until they wrapped their brains around what we do. And you were still Don was brand new. You were brand new to it as well. This was one of the very first projects we had you do. So once I think everybody wrapped their brains around what we do and how we do it and what we track, and that we don't have employee drivers, that we are a leasing company, so we have leased out trucks. We want to protect the assets, and that's what we care about. That's when I think people start going, "Oh, I see what you're doing." And then they were like, well, here's all these other things that Fleetio does that actually fit what you're doing.
Oh,
And it was like,
that's what sold.
oh, okay, yes, that's cool. And then some of the stuff, I don't know if have we started using it yet, like the predictive stuff? Because there's predictive modeling on it that we can do, but kind of tracking like how many miles the trucks ran per month and that sort of thing, right?
I don't think maintenance is using any of that stuff right now, but there is predictive stuff, like you said.
Yeah.
Based on how much we are actually using, you can pull up an individual truck and it will tell you over the cost of time, like, okay, you have on the truck this many years, you have spent this amount of money on it, and based on this particular vehicle, this is how much you can expect to get out of it. And it'll like tell you, okay, here's the time frame you should start looking to sell. Or if it starts seeing that your cost is rising much higher than what the vehicle value is, it'll recommend to sell and stuff like that.
So we're not using predictive modeling to predict a PM or an APU PM?
Not yet. It is there, but
Okay.
we're not utilizing that yet.
Yeah.
Because we're staying on that strict 1,000 hours for the APU.
Sure.
Yep. And
That's
then
pretty cool.
there's an app too, right? Goes to the teams.
Yes.
Is that through Fleetio as well?
Fleetio Go.
Okay.
Yep. They can download that. They can see all the information that you see on the desktop. They get notifications. They get emails whenever things are due.
I thought it was cool. I don't use Fleetio. I have access to it, but the stuff that we do, when we upload a VIR from our truck, Mel usually does that. But a team was going through, I asked them when their carb test was due. They were in the yard, and he had mentioned something about their MIL light getting fixed last week. And I said, well, when's your carb test due? And his wife was the one that had Fleetio, and she pulled it up, and I was able to look over her shoulder and see they had a permit that's due or coming close to being due, and it was yellow. And their carb test, I think, was still green. Everything else was okay. But it actually color-coded it, and it has across the top.
Like Legend.
The
Yeah, the
Key
legend.
Legend.
Thank you. Across the top, so you knew what that meant. Now, I thought that was pretty slick.
So I don't have the driver's side because I have an administrative login. I guess is that what mine's an admin login?
You are admin, yes.
So when I log in, I see like,
Everything's different.
oh, it's a massive platform with I have no clue what the. We've been doing a lot, technologically speaking, from our app. You've probably been getting the app updates. We've just had it down for a couple hours for maintenance and stuff. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with our app, and it's come so far from what it was. And I'm super excited about what's happening and where it's going, and some of the things that have been implemented recently. And you were talking, Melissa, we had a big group meeting a couple weeks ago now about it. And you were mentioning like, hey, how can I see that side of it, the contractor side of the app? Because you don't see that. You see the other side of it.
Sure.
And so Jerry was able to, I guess you have a mirroring software on your computer or something. You were able to like
Yes.
show, so you'd be able to see it and kind of get an idea what they're looking at. I guess I probably need to do that with Fleetio at some point because I have no idea what the drivers see.
Right.
Because my version, when I log in, it goes to the giant sheet where I see everything. And it's overwhelming. If you don't know what you're looking for, it's a lot. But like for me, I look at warranties, I look at expenses, cost, I look at repairs when I see a truck that's had abnormally high repair cost. Because just because you have a high cost of repairs that month doesn't mean necessarily your truck's gone bad. Because if you replace all your tires, that's a ton of money.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
a ton of money.
Sure.
It skews things, right? Or if you get at between 500 and 600,000 miles, we typically extend our warranties on our trucks. That gets lumped in because it's a one-time fee. It doesn't get amortized out. So that shows up, and that'll majorly skew some things. Or if you were in a wreck and say they're replacing your hood or they're
Right.
replacing whatever. That stuff skews the numbers. So it's not just enough to see like, hey, this truck had a high month. We got to go back and look. Why did it have a high
Yeah.
month
Right.
and what all got done? And so that's the kind of stuff you look at when you're trying to figure out kind of what it does with predictive of telling you whether or not you should sell the vehicle. We look at it and go, okay, based on our knowledge, is this something that's like is starting nickel and diming us too much, or is it like, nope, this all makes sense type situation. So that's the side of it that I really get into on that end, and it's really detailed about everything. I mean, I've even found Jimmy hates when this happens, like because I was looking at 2024's numbers, and I did find where like an estimate was put in, and then right below it, an invoice was put in, and so it looked like it was charged twice, and it artificially raised the price,
Ooh.
and so they just had to go through and delete out the estimate, so we only recorded the invoice. But like simple mistake,
Sure.
super simple mistake.
Right.
So like that's the kind of stuff but it's that detailed, and you couldn't tell from the description. You could only tell when you actually pulled up the digital image of the actual invoice and the actual estimate, where I'm like, oh, this is literally the exact same thing. So it's that's very cool to be able to have that much information. And then, if I'm not mistaken, so on the app the drivers do a vehicle inspection report, right?
Yes.
Y'all do one at the yard as well.
Yes.
That's like Melissa sees.
Yes.
VIR. Vehicle inspection report. Yep.
And so that's like what, just basically a monthly pre-trip?
It is.
Correct. And-
It's more involved than your pre-trip
Mhm.
because it wants to know things like are your buttons on your cabinet doors and your sleeper working, and
Okay.
so it's a lot more involved than a
So it's
pre-trip.
so it's customized?
It's customized.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Very nice.
Yeah. So you still do your daily for your carrier.
Well, yeah, that's what I
Yeah. And then you once a month you go through and do everything else where we want tire pressures, tread depths,
of each tire.
of each tire.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to know. We're trying to find those little problems.
Sure.
Before they become big problems.
Yeah.
Whether it's stuff that you would normally put on your daily VIR to your carrier, or in your sleeper, stuff that's not necessarily a safety issue, but it's going to be more expensive if we don't fix it now, or it can hang tight until you get back to Columbus
Yeah.
and get to the yard, and they can replace the push button on your cabinet, kind of thing.
Our quality of life, right? Like if
Quality
your
of life, yeah.
if your cooktop goes out and you want your cooktop replaced, if we know about it,
Sure.
that's a 15-minute install,
Mhm.
assuming the glue was done properly by the last people. It's a 15-minute install. We
Yeah.
can do it in the yard. We keep them in stock. Like it's super easy to change them out.
You have to be truthful on those.
You do have to be truthful.
And yes, is there going to be downtime to get whatever you put on there fixed? Of course. But get those little things fixed before
Yeah.
it becomes you're down for 2
Sure.
weeks because now it's a huge problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
know?
you pencil up your tread depths on your tires, and they're illegal. And we've gotten how many trucks that had levels that tread depths are so low that we would have replaced them. They might be illegal, but Hyfield would have replaced the tires already because of the level that they're at. So don't pencil up that stuff. Actually go through. It's a safety thing.
It really
It
is.
truly is a safety issue.
Yeah.
We very rarely, like we have won the safety award for both FedEx and Panther multiple times.
Yeah.
Eric's got several of them in his office. We are a very safe fleet. We rarely have inspections that aren't perfect. Like not even like a blemish. I mean, like they're
Yeah,
usually just
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
If we get an out of service, every single time, maybe one some wrong, but every single time, it's tire tread depth. Every single time, or just flat out blown tire.
Yeah.
Which is like that's the most basic thing we should be doing is checking our tire pressures.
Sure.
And checking our tread depths, and it's a safety issue and it's a legal issue. Like when we get a truck put out of service and we get a truck tire replaced on the side of the road, it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
A $600 tire installed at a Love's costs us $600-700 with installation, right?
Right.
On the side of the road, it's $2,500.
Yeah.
Like it's that drastic of a
Wow.
difference.
And how long does that take approximately? What, you're down for a couple hours to at the most a
Yeah.
day-ish?
Yes.
Not even? Okay. So now you let that go, your tire blows,
Rip off all the
Yep.
destroys the other parts of your truck.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now
Steel
how long
tire.
are you down?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or are you still no, I
Well,
won't
and
go that far.
steer tires are
I
super
use-
dangerous. I
Yeah.
mean, like you lose a steer tire,
It's-
it's 50-50 chance everybody walks away happy.
Yeah.
Like it's dangerous. That always shocks me when people don't take care of their tires. Again, by law, we are required to do it every day. By our carrier's rules, we're required to do it every day. Just for the safety of like, I don't feel like this being my last drive ever.
Right.
Do it every day.
Right.
And not just thumping the tire.
Correct. Yeah.
Actually sticking it with the air pressure gauge that Hyfield provides in your truck to check your pressure.
Yes. Yeah, that was a commitment we did 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer now. We've tire pressure and tread depth. We don't even like excuses anymore. But yeah, no, it's a huge deal. And so once a month, we just ask you to verify that with us. And we're only going to not put you out of service. We're only going to pick the truck out of service, or at least require it to be fixed before the next load if it's a DOT safety issue.
Right.
Right? Like if it's a my cooktop doesn't work, it's going to be at your leisure. You can come swing by Columbus and grab one.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right.
And we've had a few people too. Like they're like, "Can we just have the cooktop mailed to the house?"
Yeah.
And we send them the link and say like, "Yeah, here's the place to order it and get it sent to your house." And then if it died naturally, we cover that expense. If it died because you dropped a can of Campbell's soup on it, which happens more often than you can imagine, then it's on you, obviously. But yeah, it's so funny. Those cooktops too. They're like $82 on Amazon.
About that now, yeah.
They're like $900 at Bolt. Same exact cooktop.
one.
Wow.
Same exact one.
Yep, and then you got to pay a minimum 1 hour, which is $140 to have it replaced,
Oof.
and it takes 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay,
Unless the glue is screwed.
unless the glue
screwed
is
up.
on it.
I was gonna say, how
Yeah.
much are recharging when people come to the yard and
Oh.
put it in?
Coffee.
It's
Coffee.
Yeah.
Bring us coffee and a donut.
There you go.
And so the other thing is, if they have an issue in their truck and it's not one of the yes/no things, can they then in that VIR put like, "Hey, I have my visor's leaking water"? Can they say that?
Absolutely. At the bottom of each section, there's a free form section that they can type in notes and put whatever they need to put to alert us.
And then if they, if it's January 15th and they have an issue, do they just have to do a whole new VIR and they fill that in, or is there a?
The driver can actually go in if it's not the beginning of the month, which is when we have them do the VIR, which is by the 5th of each month, or 7th, excuse me. We want that in. So if they are doing their pre-trip on the 10th and they notice something that is not immediate that needs to be done, but they need to alert maintenance, they can go right into their Fleetio Go app, create an issue on their truck. It pops up immediately on maintenance side. They see it. They can address it. They can reach out to the driver. Is it something that needs to be fixed right away? They can make notes on it. The driver and maintenance can go back and forth on the notes.
Yeah.
They can take care of everything all right there.
I do I've not seen that side of it on the app, but I have seen the back side of it where, like, if there's an issue on the truck, there's a on the admin side of the program. I'm not gonna say app because this is more like website based, but there's a section where it's got all the open issues on the trucks, and is that where? So some of them are like red and some of them are yellow. Is that priority because of like, hey, this needs to be resolved immediately, or is that like, hey, this has been open for a long time, we need to close it?
Priority on how it needs to be resolved. So if
Okay.
it's yellow, it could be something that can wait kind of issue warning. If it's red, overdue, major, critical, it needs to be fixed right now. They blew a steer tire and they're on the side of the road.
Gotcha.
That type of thing.
And that's good because our maintenance program, we have 3 people running maintenance right now. We have Jimmy, Eric, and Don, and they are they run a offset schedule. It's a weird schedule. It's 24 hours a day, so it's gonna be a weird schedule, right? Like that's a lot. And then on the weekends, it's still 24 hours a day, but you may have to call and leave a voicemail and wait for someone to call you back. It's more of an on-call type thing. And in our business, you typically run Monday through Friday. It's very rare you run the weekends, right? It's good because if you have that blowout on the side of the interstate at noon and you are, working with someone on that, and the tire company gets to you by 3, well, that person's already off. They're not working anymore. Like they're off for the day.
Right.
So having those notes and having someone who has no idea this is happening be able to pick up on it, or hey, it's 3:00. We haven't gotten any resolution on this. What's
Right.
going on? Let me reach out. Oh, they did come and they're already on the road. But they didn't tell us. Okay, we'll make a note of that and be able to fix it. It is cool. I've seen that side of it. I didn't know. So, but maintenance can put it in too. So if I call Jimmy and say, hey, or I call maintenance and get any of them really and say, hey, I've got this issue with this truck, they can also put it in, right? I don't have to use the app.
So if it is, to my knowledge, this is the way Jimmy runs it, because Jimmy is our maintenance manager.
Yes.
If it is any issue that needs to be addressed other than a light inside the sleeper, something that's very simple.
My
If it is-
refrigerator light doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. If it is any type of issue that is on the truck, they create an issue for it. So if you call into maintenance while you're talking to them, they're creating an issue and filling all the information out that you're giving them, and that is saved so that way everybody in maintenance knows what's going on. They're also talking on the back end with chat
Yes.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And then that way, as it gets resolved, then you're going in and you're resolving that ticket, and you can resolve it by either just closing it out with a note that it was fixed however, or if it was actually gone to a shop, then they close it out by putting in the service entry, and that is the full detail of all the cost and all
Wow.
that stuff and receipts and all that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty slick.
That's really awesome.
I remember we used to do our VIRs on paper. And
Oh, yeah?
scan them in and email them off to Donnie.
Yes.
What?
That's how we used to do our VIRs originally. Before
I don't remember that.
was you didn't do them, I did.
Before Smartsheet.
Before Smartsheet, yeah. It was paper.
Yep.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. No, it was not maybe. It was.
It was.
Yeah.
Huh.
See, I remember
Yeah.
back in the day when you had this thing called a logbook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it was arts and crafts time because you had to draw a line,
Perfect.
and then you had to like draw the line up and then over and then down and then over, and then if you knew you were going to drive 2 hours, you couldn't draw 2 hours because you hadn't driven it yet. So if you did go too far, you were breaking the law. And then when do you sign it, before or after? Because he needs a certified log, the officer does, but if you haven't finished your day, you're authorizing that you're certifying these logs that you haven't been finished. Oh man, whew, I don't miss those days. But yeah, Eric and I never had. We had VIRs with the carrier that we had to submit, but we never had to answer to a maintenance person for that kind of thing. I guess those first 6 months we did, but that was, again, there was no apps or anything back then. That
I remember
was
when they got Fleetio and the Georgia crew came and sat at the table, and
for hours.
I remember hearing
days.
grumbling, and I think
Yeah.
there could have been tears and
remember
why
that.
are we doing this? A little pushback, but I think all in the end it was well worth it, because look where you are now with it.
Absolutely.
And we still have room to grow.
Sure.
I remember that experience because I walked into my dining room
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like we were launching Artemis
Yeah. It did.
3 or whatever it
It did,
is,
yeah.
and Neil Armstrong was in the back corner just in case we needed him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was bananas. There was an MTV award moon man there. Like it was like
I
what's.
don't know how many screens were up and laptops were open.
Oh, it looked like we were running an Apple store. That you ever walk into an Apple store and you just see like the long table with
Yeah,
all the
solid. Yeah.
iPads lined up, and then they have the iPhones next to them, and then everybody's got their little earbuds
Mhm.
because if someone takes a call, you got to jump
Yep.
on that. You can't have it out. Like that's what it looked like. It looked like we were running a model, like a in-home Apple store,
It was funny.
like a Tupperware party,
Yeah,
but for Apple.
Exactly.
Insane. That was another huge technology thing we did. We switched everybody from PC to Apple. That was an expensive endeavor.
I bet it was.
But there's no going back.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
So much so
The longevity on the devices.
yes,
Yeah.
and I hear that if you break your keyboard, they'll fix it
Yeah, 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
What if you
you
spill
were on
water on it?
Oh no,
Yeah,
well,
if you have the warranty, sure.
yeah.
Right?
If you
Apple
don't,
Care Plus will do that.
You were on standby on Saturday and didn't even know it, Sir Jerry. Because if they couldn't fix my letter R and T on the keyboard, and they were going to suggest something else, I was instructed to give you a call and see what I should do.
So what you don't know is that Dad and I went flying. So we took a 4-hour flight.
I do know that. I saw
That was
the picture.
that was my longest flight to date. 4 hours.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I felt it. That was the first time. That was the first time because Heather, you and I flew together, and
it's
it was
3.2,
3.2, 3.7,
something
6, 5,
close.
something like that. Yeah,
Hours?
3.5 hours,
6, 7.
6, 7, and that it was fine getting out of the plane by that. On this 4-hour one, I was like, oh, this seat's a little firm. And we were in a different airplane, so maybe that's part of it.
Ask if you're
Yeah.
in an instrument one.
Not
Not
no, it
yet.
was not yet. But
Okay.
we're actually in a newer airplane, so I bet the seat wasn't as soft.
Probably not.
Probably not. Not enough people.
But you didn't have to hold the door.
I didn't have to hold the door. The door didn't open up. Actually, we had the other opposite issue where we had to actually run the air conditioner.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Nice.
was quite warm. So Saturday was a beautiful day. We flew out. It was the forecast was that. So my goal was leave Columbus, fly to Fort Wayne, and then we're going to go up to Port, whatever it is, and then we were going to go over to Cedar Point, which is not open yet, and fly around Cedar Point, and then fly back. That was my goal. And I didn't think I wasn't going to take up enough time because I had 3.8 hours I wanted to fly. So I figured, maybe we'll fly into Mansfield or one of these other airports, do a couple laps in the pattern that just chew up time, and then go home. So we started flying up towards Fort Wayne, and I was watching the forecast. We delayed our flight an hour. I was watching the forecast. I'm like, man, the clouds are just not coming down. Let's just take off and head that direction, and we'll fly at 2,500 feet. That's 1,500 feet off the ground, so you can see everything. People out mowing their lawn, like you can see everything at 1,500 feet. It's not ideal for cruising long distance. It's fine, it's safe, but it's just not ideal. You want to be higher than that. So we're flying, and all of a sudden, those clouds, which are like 500 feet above our heads, are like getting slowly closer and closer to us. And I'm like, well, this is not good. This is the opposite of what's supposed to happen. So I'm looking and keeping an eye on what's going on. There was an airport close to us. Now, for me to log this flight, I have to land at an airport that's 50 miles or further away for the task I was trying to accomplish. And this was 63 miles away. So I'm like, okay, we can land at that airport, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. So I literally landed, taxied over to the ramp, got my iPad out, and I'm like looking at the weather, trying to figure out what can we do, where can we go? Because I've got to chew this many hours up. I have to, and to accomplish my goal. And we can't do it here. Like, it's clearly going to get worse as we go. So I'm trying to figure it out, and the forecast is wrong, which it's almost never wrong. That's one thing in aviation, aviationweather.com, you can look it up. They are dead on. They are really, really good. They blow Weather Channel and everybody else out of the water. They are wrong. It happens. And so I saw that Indianapolis was actually clear, and I'm like, well, let's go to Indy. So I plotted a chart, a trip, and there's a lot of weird airspace around Indy. So there was like 9 different points of turns that we had to do to get there. But we did. We flew all the way around Indianapolis and flew back. And sure enough, maybe 30, 40 minutes into the direction of Indianapolis, the clouds disappeared. We were able to go up to 5,500 feet. And then all of a sudden you can see everything, and it's beautiful. You go from like seeing people pushing lawnmowers to like vistas of lakes, and it just gets pretty. So we were up there flying and made the big loop, and then came back, and that's how I chewed up my 4 hours.
Nice.
It was cool going through Indy. On the south side of Indy, the north side was very hazy, but on the south side it was crystal clear and beautiful. And I saw the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
And it made me think about when we went to the Inferno Room, and we went to DCI.
Marching bands.
Yes, and we went there for the competition and saw all that, and I was like, oh, we got to do that again. That was a lot of fun. So I don't know. That was it. And then we flew back. Everything was uneventful. I mean, it's crazy. This is an example. You ever hear people talk about like jets fly really high because it's better fuel economy?
Yeah.
So at 1,500 feet, or 2,500 feet, but 1,500 feet off the ground, the plane I fly is smart, so it knows that we're going to land with 13 gallons of fuel. When we climbed to first 6,500 feet and then 5,500 feet on the way back, on the climb, it's like you're going to land with -9 gallons, but it's like that's
Sure.
because I'm burning a
Yeah.
lot of fuel climbing, right? Once we got up to cruise, it was like you'll land with like 19 gallons. And we landed with over 20 gallons of fuel
Wow.
because just going that little bit of difference made that much of a difference with how much more efficient the engine can run.
Sure.
So like when jets are flying way, way, way up there, they're sipping fuel compared to when they're on like leaving the ground or whatever.
Burn the most going up and coming down.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. I had a really good time. It was a beautiful day. It started out really rocky and ended up being gorgeous. And it was my dad's first time flying with me. I think it's his first time ever on a small plane. So,
Fun.
very fun.
Yeah.
Back to our topic. Squirrel. The app, the Fleetio. It either now does or will soon integrate with the Hyfield app. Correct?
It already does.
It already does. I want to hear about how it integrates and what it tells you next week.
Okay.
Because next week I want to hear about the Hyfield app. I want to hear where we started and kind of how we've gotten to where we've gotten. I want to hear that lineage because I know it was one of the first things we talked about, and I feel like it's just now really starting to turn into a mature app. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
For sure.
So,
So after that podcast, on the one after that, can we talk about the dune technology in the yard?
perhaps if we have time.
Okay. All right.
Yes, we will.
I'm hoping we'll have time.
Producers.
I'm
put
gonna
this foot down. We will.
I'm gonna prophesy and say I want to hear about that new AC controller.
How about the whiteboard?
Ooh.
That's what I want to talk about,
Oh.
the whiteboard.
Oh.
And we just did. Done. Okay.
Well, I hope we didn't bore you to death. I know we kind of got in the weeds a little bit with technology and everything, but it seemed like something that'd be fun to talk about,
Yeah.
and there's more for
Yeah.
us to discuss.
To think about where we've come from, I mean, and we weren't with you in 2012. We started in 2019.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, the paper VIRs, which that wasn't a thing even when we started.
Correct.
It became a thing later on. But to see where we progressed to deal with the integration with app and Fleetio today for the first time for me, well, the first time I think we've done that at all, was cool. And to just see how that's growing is awesome.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
I love it. And we talked about the trucks and how we got where we're going on those. And there's been some more developments on the trucks we can talk about later.
Yeah.
That'll be the week after the week after the week after the week after.
Right.
That's gonna be season 2, 3, 4, 8, what?
5.
5.
5.
Season 5. We'll talk more about trucks in season 5.
We even changed things when you and I came on board.
You did.
You know, the whole way the inspection of a truck goes. And then I think even that's morphed over time. So that would be
Yeah.
something fun to talk about.
Oh, yeah,
I
do
think
you-
we've touched on it before in another
Yeah.
video, but
Yeah.
why not talk about it again in the future?
It would be fun to talk about like
the
you know,
400
how did
points,
how did
right?
how did the checklist start? When someone asks me what do you do as a checklist, and I'm like, I walk around the truck and look at it,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we're going to put together a checklist with like 30 points. And now, anyways, that would be a fun topic.
Yeah.
Operations in the yard and where it went to where it's at, that's going to be in 4 weeks. And yeah. Well, if this was somewhat interesting to you, cool. I'm glad. It's something we're just trying to give all the Hyfield insight. So if you
Yeah.
take the entire outer belt, by the time we run our course, you will be able to start and run a fleet of trucks.
You will.
That's our goal, is to give you all the information.
Yep.
I was once talking with Eric, Frank, and Donna at a FedEx fleet owners meeting, and I said,
These are all fleet owners.
yes, and I said, we can sit down with someone and tell them everything we know and exactly how to structure your company and how to run your trucks and how to do the model and how to be compliant and all this stuff and how to advertise and feel no guilt because no one is going to take it and do it.
No.
Like, we can give you all the
Yeah.
keys to the kingdom and everybody's going to be like, yeah, I think I could do this better.
They won't have the patience to work through it even if they did.
Oh, the patience.
Yeah.
Oh, the patience.
Yeah. Patience.
The patience. Kind of reminds
So-
me of that doctor photo.
I'm glad we all got the memo today.
What's
All the
that?
men are wearing khaki shorts and black shirts. The
Yes.
women are wearing black pants and gray T-shirts.
We try
Wow.
to be organized.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yes.
Whew.
Go
Yeah.
us.
Well,
Right.
how about the fact that we're all using insulated cups?
Yeah.
There's
except
no
Jerry.
glasses. There's no.
Jerry's got a can over there.
Well, we're working on him.
It's empty.
Working on him. Well, if this is interesting to you and it sounds like something you might like to listen to going down the road, certainly subscribe to us. Like the, we're gonna try that again from the top.
Just let Jerry have it.
No, Jerry always gets it.
I know.
He's got it.
He's
like-
got it down. Take
It's
it
in the
away,
cue card
Jerry.
over there for Jerry. Just read Jerry's cue card.
Just in the SNL for last. It was great. Well, if you've enjoyed hanging out with us and kind of listening to us yammer on about the history of the company and how we got to where we got, this podcast might be the one for you. If you're new, you should do what Jerry says now.
Visit us over at hyfieldtrucking.com if you're interested in learning more about Hyfield and all that we have to offer over here. You can reach out to our recruiting department Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have a live chat on there that you can chat with recruiting or send us over a form through the Contact Us. You can also reach out to recruiting at 833-HIFIELD. That's 833-493-4353, option 1. Again, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have a comment about the show or suggestions for future shows, please leave a comment down below. We do read all of those, or you can shoot us over an email at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. It really does help us out with the algorithm, and we really would appreciate it. I'd like to say a huge thank you to those who have been listening to us on the streaming platforms, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Last week, we did have 214 downloads in 1 week.
Nice.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's
that's great.
amazing.
Well, go. That's awesome. You know, we do this every week, and sometimes it's like, why? But
People are listening.
it means so much when we go to the yard or we go to a meeting or we do a Zoom or something, and
Yeah.
people say like, oh yeah, well in the Outer Belt the other day, and it's like,
Right.
whoa, okay. Vince, Melissa, I always hear y'all talk about it. It's like the Outer Belt this, Outer Belt that from other teams, or the Chicks get a lot of love, or Luke Shire gets a lot of love, Boogie gets a lot of love.
Yeah.
Real trucker couple, all of them.
The real trucking couple, yeah. It's overwhelming to get all that.
I had a truck and travel call today.
Nice.
You know, I mean, I know,
Yeah.
not to, I mean, Sim and Derek have been off the road, but just content helps people.
It does.
You know,
It
and
does.
people are watching if it's what they want to do.
I can't believe Eric and I found this industry before that existed. And
The sharing of things on YouTube, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
back then it was very like competitive, and they were like, we don't talk about it. We don't want, like, it was almost like Fight Club. Like, people didn't want,
Yeah.
Don't talk about
don't
expediting.
talk about expediting. Like, we got a honey hole here. We're making a lot of money.
Right.
Don't mention it to anybody.
Get it.
So it was a very different world back then. But and then back when Jerry got into it, they were chiseling news reports onto stone, and yeah. So thank you all again for hanging out with us. We hope you have a wonderful week. If you know anybody that might enjoy listening to us yammer on to help kill an hour going down the road, be sure to share our podcast with them. And until we meet again, stay safe, make good decisions.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah, so it's amazing the paper VIRs, you know, from no VIR to paper VIRs, and
Yeah.
now it's on Fleetio. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
The whole paper VIR was actually based off of my recommendation. Long time ago, back in 1912, whenever I started driving,
Yes.
the original fleet owner that I was with had a form that we filled out paper-wise and everything, and that is actually what I sent over, and that is what
Yeah.
our VIR is based off of today
Cool.
that Jimmy used.
You know what's funny?
That's awesome.
I remember that conversation.
I emailed it to you and him. Yeah.
Yep. But I remember that conversation with you about like, hey, we used to do this VIR thing. I think it's something we probably need to consider doing. And because after you sent me the email, we actually talked about it. You were driving, I was driving a truck, but I don't think I was driving. Was I hauling freight? No. No, I was just driving somewhere. Picked a truck. I was driving. Might have been double A or something because I've driven a double A how many times now? And I talked to you about it, and I'm like, I like the idea. Is it necessary? Like I remember going through the whole thing and then being like, all right, yeah, this is let's do this. Let's go this direction. What I do not remember at all, period, for the life of me, is this paper VIR that we had people take a picture of.
Yeah, we genius scanned it,